Comparte entre los 7 y 11 tráfico ocasionalmente por encima, con altibajos y con algunos tierra que podrán afectar en todo el rango de acierto y converge por debajo de los 7 hasta los 3 megaciclos. Hasta aquí las condiciones de propagación de segundos de Barcelona. Alonso Mostazo para Frecuencia al Día.
Frecuencia al Día. Celebrando otro aniversario de la historia de la radio, honramos el invento que logró conectar al mundo entero. Hoy, esa misma magia sigue vibrando en tu frecuencia, evolucionando cada día, para acompañarte en cada momento. Frecuencia al Día. En telecomunicación, líder en tecnología. Esto es Frecuencia al Día, el más internacional. Dirige y presenta Dino Bloise. Espectro noticioso.
Estas son las noticias sobre Telecom más importantes.
Hola, gracias Dino. Paraguay, a casi un año de su polémica licitación 5G. Paraguay volvió a la carga. La Comisión Nacional de Telecomunicaciones, CONATEL, publicó este 15 de abril el borrador del pliego de bases y condiciones generales de una nueva licitación para otorgar espectro para la tecnología móvil de quinta generación, ahora también en la banda de 2 y 3 GHz, además de la de 3 y 5 GHz, donde en 2025 le asignó espectro a Claro y Nubicom, mediante la licitación número 01-2026, banda ancha móvil. El regulador planea otorgar licencias para la prestación de los servicios de telefonía móvil, celular y de acceso a Internet y de transmisión de datos en las bandas de frecuencias de 2,300 MHz y 3,500 MHz, además de establecer las obligaciones para su operación y explotación. Brasil, el consorcio Amazonia 5G, Brisanet, Claro, IES, Telecom, MHNet, Telefónica, TIM y Unific son los proponentes de la subasta de las subbandas de 700 MHz en Brasil. La Agencia Nacional de Telecomunicaciones, Anatel, recibió las propuestas este miércoles 15 de abril. Sin embargo, los sobres con los valores ofertados se abrirán el 30 de abril. El proceso involucra las subbandas de 708 MHz a 718 MHz y de 763 MHz a 773 MHz, con posibilidad de otorgamiento para el servicio móvil personal, SMP. En esta etapa, la comisión de licitación, presidida por el superintendente de otorgamiento y recursos a la prestación, SORA, Vinicius Caram, únicamente email at rsi_english@stvr.sk. Monday. Still have a long way to go to getting back to feeling a little bit stronger. We'll talk about that some other day. But I am feeling better, and I want to thank all of you for your prayers and concern on how we are doing. As I was saying, I get up every morning, and part of what I have to do in preparing a radio program like this, I start going through email and subscribe to news sites and even put the TV on to get an idea of what's going on in the world. What happened overnight? What crisis du jour will we be facing today? Will it be some kind of a war, economic crisis, gasoline prices going up, politicians just doing, well, political things? And I have to wonder, what does our future really hold? What do we have any hope for? And today I just want to spend some time looking at some news stories that I've been collecting. Some of you may have heard, some of you may have missed, but they are indicative of what we have become and the kind of people that we have become and the things that we tolerate. I see things today, and I have to say this. I see things today that I could never even begin to imagine happening in the United States 50 years ago, let alone 100 years ago. Sure, we know there have always been, from the beginning of time, evil and pretty colorful people. There had been the Jesse James, there have been the robbers, the thieves, the murderers, the gangsters. They've always been a part of who we are, but never at the level that we see today. The filters that people used to have on their mouths and the things that they write, they're gone. And if you don't believe me, spend some time perusing social media. Telling a guy that I know, he makes his living in buying and selling homes, and he's doing a lot of stuff these days to enhance his business using social media. And he said it consumes a lot of his time to produce these little short videos and other material for social media in order to create a brand name. And I get it. I understand that. And I told him from my work experience over the past over 16 going on 17 years, hard to believe, that I've had this love-hate relationship with social media. As social media was beginning to become part of who we are as a society, around 2006, 7, and 8, I had to spend a lot of time with it in the work that I did. And there was a period of time in my life that I will admit, maybe around 2012, 13, maybe even as late as 2016, I enjoyed looking at social media. Facebook did not disturb me. I didn't have too many issues. I didn't spend a whole lot of time with what was then known as Twitter in 2014, 15, and 16. Actually, Twitter was not really my thing personally, but I used it because of the work that I did. And text messaging and everything that happens with social media and this internet age and this telephone-dominated cell phone, smartphone age. But I've noticed something over the years that is increasingly disturbing and troubling, and I think you need to take this seriously. There was a time, and I was thinking the other day, I first had come back to Florida in 2014, still working in emergency management part-time and doing some broadcast work. And I would enjoy some evenings when things were kind of quiet where I was living. There was a nice quiet place that I was in. Yeah, it was a 55-plus community. I was living among old people like me. And I enjoyed looking at Facebook and scrolling through it because back then, a lot of what I was seeing were from people that I had not talked to in ages, that we had become friends, people that I knew from literally elementary school into high school, college, career. It was nice reconnecting. It was nice seeing some pictures. It was nice communicating. And at that time, to me, it was an enjoyable experience. There was not the level of political rancor that we see today. Today, over these past 10,
12 years, Facebook has become an intellectual sewer. It is full of advertising, many of it suspect, many of it very questionable, many of it very dangerous, I might add, and I know that from experience, trust me. A lot of politics, a lot of anger, a lot of filthy language, things that you didn't even see on Facebook 15 years ago. We have just literally dived headfirst into this abyss of stupidity, narcissism, unfiltered language, and I have to wonder, what is it doing to us? How is this impacting us? We look at the generations of people, and I'm spending a little time up front with this before I get into these. I've got 4 or 5 news stories I want to get to, but I need to set the stage so you understand why these stories are important, what it tells you about where we are today, and what I really believe we can expect going forward. Unfiltered language. Just evil stuff people post on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I just can't believe some of the stuff that I see. You look at the millennial generation, those that came of age prior to the year 2000. And these millennials that came of age were born sometime in the 1980s, maybe even the early 1990s. And their children are what we know now as Gen Z. Many of them born prior to, the year like 2010 to 15, but many born around the year 2000 to 2002 and 3. They're now late teens, coming into their early to mid-20s. And what I see with this generation of Gen Z is a greater mixed bag than I've ever seen in any generation prior. Some of it is positive, a lot of it is still negative.
Not only did they have me well prepared and interested when I had to attend jury duty, they also cover much of the current news and cover the legal aspects of it. So, if you're looking for something to watch at night, have on in the background, if you're looking for something educational, if you want to know more about the American legal system, check out Legal Eagle on YouTube and Nebula.
Of the ancient city called at that time Salem. And as Abraham comes, he pays tithes and he honors this mysterious individual known as Melchizedek. It's the only place in the Bible where a man was both a priest and a king. Later, God One ¿Es lo lógico? Así
funciona el sistema.
Dios, eso no es lógica, ¿eh?
Carmen no encuentra la palabra que busca. De pronto, la imagen del capitán Méndez se confunde con otras que parecen danzar alrededor. Una tribuna al pie del monumento al héroe nacional. Un orador en traje militar proclamando que la alucinación es justicia para todos. Banderas negras. Policías haciendo entrar a la fuerza a un vehículo a un auto alto y fuerte que se niega a bajar la frente.
La tierra que se vuelve oscura. 6 soldados aguantando sus fusiles. La tierra es negra, roja. No hay justicia.
Imágenes se atropellan en su mente. 2 banderas negras. Negras. Un barco de revuelta cargado de hombres, mujeres y niños hundiéndose en el mar entre chorros de agua de otros barcos.
El mar es negro. Y hay un cielo de nubes negras como las banderas de la plaza.
Disparando cohetes contra otros aviones civiles desarmados consignas de odio y muerte, banderas negras, muy negras, tierra, mar y cielo que se ensombrecen, que se enlutan, no resiste más. Maldición, se ha desmayado. Definitivamente no está en un hospital. Entonces solo les queda la alternativa que les dije. ¿La policía? Pero cualquier carro irá a estar en una unidad de la policía. No hay cualquier equivocación, Harry. Aquí llevan a la policía mucha gente. Uno sigue a todos. Pero esta realidad se mueve una joven de nuestra sociedad. Ella no está nada más que en sus estudios. Lo sé, pero eso no quita que haya estado en un mal lugar en un mal momento. Vamos a hablar de para recorrer las unidades de policía. Ya no tenemos que pedirle nada.
We're broadcasting in English on shortwave and real audio online at www.radiohc.cu.
Broadcast. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. Nice to have you along. We'll be bringing you national and international news that's coming up. We'll have our commentary viewpoint from the editorial desk. We'll be the Arch Roundup, cultural news with the Arch Roundup. And then, at the end of the hour, 12 noon, we have the Mailbag Show with all the letters and email messages from our listeners around the world. We'll some things on the play with our national news, human news from radio. I'm Vatican. Has denounced the express intentions of the United States government to take military action against Cuba, stating that it constitutes an international crime. The mere threat of an attack or military action is a crime. Through his official account on the social network X, the former minister of Cuba emphasized that Washington insists on such a military action, justifying it as necessary to liberate a devastated country. The foreign minister said what is cynical and hypocritical is that the United States has been trying to devastate the country for decades with an economic war, and this administration is doing so with a greater determination in recent months with 2 genocidal executive orders. The has highlighted that both the economic and energy blockade and the new extraterritorial ballistic measures so the military aggression and the aggression itself are international crimes. U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed all sanctions against Cuba, asserting that his country will take Cuba almost immediately. This means blockade of supplying solar panels to a pediatric hospital in Cuba are the objectives of a humanitarian mission that will set sail from Spain to Cuba in the coming days. The flotilla to Cuba will depart on May the 10th, on Sunday, next Sunday, from the port of Barcelona, aboard the Astral, a ship belonging to the Open Arms Association. The mission will last approximately 1 month, with the stages taking place from May 13th to the 28th, according to organizers' estimates. The crew is scheduled to start in Valencia, Malaga, Cadiz, and Las Palmas de Gran Canaria before crossing the Atlantic. Up to 4 people will board the ship at each leg of the journey to accompany the group. These individuals include members of the cultural community, public officials, and influencers. In statements to Peninsula TV News Agency, the director of Open Arms, Oscar Campos, described the dynamics of emergencies in different contexts, highlighting the presence of Cuban medical brigades. He said, these professionals, who are part of a long-standing tradition of international solidarity, present in highly demanding situations, and with a continuity that does not depend on mere attention, this context and constant presence has made all the difference to many countries. Thompson noted that the time has come to reciprocate this practice with actions and give back a portion of that solidarity wherever we can contribute. The NGO Open Arms and the Eco-Solar Revolution Cooperative, known as leftist groups, labor, social, and political organizations, are promoting this action, which seeks to further highlight the global rejection of the U.S. economic, commercial, and financial blockade imposed on Cuba by the United States. In an interview with Peninsula TV, the head of the Open Arms organization said, we hope to personally deliver all of the photovoltaic information equipment, ensuring that at every hospital, intensive care unit, we can care for wounds and the vulnerable population in need of medical assistance. The solar panels are designated for only one Union Medical Hospital in Havana, in Mariana, which faces hardships imposed by the U.S. blockade, intensified by the Trump administration. We will be transported aboard the ship, the flotilla, which is leaving again from Barcelona on Sunday. And the network of intellectuals, artists, and social movements in defense of humanity has denounced in a statement the military threats made by Donald Trump's administration against Cuba, as well as the new sanctions that deepen the imperialist blockade. While humanity cries out for peace, cooperation, and respect for international law, the Trump administration responds with the logic of state terrorism, the strengthening of the criminal economic, commercial, and financial blockade, and the persecution of any financial transaction that dares to approach the island. A statement by the network of intellectuals, artists, and social movements asserting that this does not respond to any political logic, but rather to the coercive action of an imperial power that resorts to force to try to nullify the sovereignty and dignity of a people. The network of intellectuals, artists, and social movements express its full support for the government and people of Cuba, recognizing their inalienable right to self-determination and to build their own destiny without foreign interference. The statement denounced that attempts to break the law of an empire through the country's hunger and economic strangulation are not only immoral, but doomed to failure. The empire is failed and will continue to fail in the face of dignity, resistance, and the legacy of struggle, of heroes and martyrs. The network of artists and intellectuals made an urgent appeal to all intellectuals, academics, artists, and the international community to speak out and unite in support of Cuba. Those are the stories we follow through and national news from the Cubanists. Stay with us now as we go to the international news desk. Join us as we take a look at some of the international news stories. Coordinated Universal Time.
En Rumanía existen numerosos embalses relevantes, pero destacan tres de ellos por su tamaño, importancia energética y papel estratégico. Hablamos de los embalses de Puertas de Hierro 1, Izvorul, Montelui y Vidra. El embalse de las Puertas de Hierro 1 es una de las obras de ingeniería hidráulica más impresionantes de Europa. Está situado en el río Danubio, en la frontera entre Rumanía y Serbia, y forma parte de un sistema hidroeléctrico conjunto entre ambos países. Su construcción comenzó en la década de 1960 y fue inaugurado oficialmente en 1972, marcando un momento clave en la modernización energética de la región. Este embalse tiene una capacidad enorme y cumple múltiples funciones. Su principal objetivo es la producción de energía hidroeléctrica, siendo la central asociada una de las más potentes del continente. Gracias a su infraestructura, contribuye significativamente al suministro energético de Rumanía. Además, regula el caudal del Danubio, reduciendo el riesgo de inundaciones en zonas río abajo. Otro aspecto fundamental es la mejora de la navegación. Antes de su construcción, este tramo del Danubio era peligroso debido a rápidos y estrechamientos naturales. Con el embalse, el río se volvió más seguro y accesible para el transporte fluvial. Sin embargo, su construcción también tuvo consecuencias importantes. Varias localidades, incluida la histórica isla de Abracanes, quedaron sumergidas, lo que implicó el desplazamiento de comunidades y la pérdida de patrimonio cultural. Hoy en día, las Puertas de Hierro 1 no solo son esenciales desde el punto de vista energético, sino también un símbolo de cooperación internacional y desarrollo tecnológico. El embalse de Izvorul Muntelui, conocido comúnmente como lago Vicat, es el mayor lago artificial situado íntegramente dentro de Rumanía. Se encuentra en el río Bistrița, en la región montañosa de los Cárpatos orientales, cerca de la ciudad de Vicat. Fue creado en los años 60 mediante la construcción de la presa de Vicat, una de las más importantes del país en su época. Este embalse desempeña un papel clave en la producción de energía hidroeléctrica, abasteciendo a diversas zonas del país. También actúa como reserva estratégica de agua, utilizada tanto para consumo humano como para actividades industriales y agrícolas. Uno de los aspectos más destacados del lago Vicat es su gran valor paisajístico. Rodeado de montañas y bosques, ofrece vistas espectaculares que lo han convertido en un destino turístico muy popular. Actividades como la pesca, los paseos en barco y el senderismo atraen a visitantes tanto nacionales como internacionales. El embalse también tiene importancia ecológica, aunque, como en muchos proyectos de este tipo, su construcción alteró el ecosistema original.
hours, 46 minutes. Loser, 40.
To find out more.
Out to explore the misty highlands of Raiatea in French Polynesia. A local friend waves and wishes you well with the words Apai Ito Ito, that is, good luck in Tahitian, the indigenous language of these lush Pacific islands. Amtavini, on Raiatea's southeastern shore, stands Tapu Tapu Atea Marae, one of the most sacred ceremonial sites in the Polynesian world. Rituals at Tapu Tapu Atea were meant to maintain harmony between people and the divine forces they honor. Many villagers continue to recognize Raiatea's role as a spiritual center of Polynesia's voyaging and cultural origins. The devoted islanders value your respect for their ancestral land and its revered traditions. May your faith remain steady, even in the storm. In God's magnanimous love.
Cute baby.
Welcome to our show, titled Lifting Voices, Lifting Weights. Dr. Catherine Phipps, vegan, Part 2 of 2. Dr. Catherine Phipps, vegan, is a British powerlifter, senior lecturer, and passionate animal people rights activist whose journey embodies both resilience and advocacy. Her story proves that true power lies not only in lifting weights, but in lifting voices and minds for a more compassionate future, where sport itself becomes a platform for animal people rights and ethical living. In our previous episodes, we explored Catherine's path to veganism and gained insights into her training routine, a